Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the introductory press conference for New York Red Bulls 2 head coach Michael Bradley. We're joined by Michael and New York Red Bulls sporting director Julian de Guzman. We're going to open things up first with statements from both Julian and Michael, and then we'll open the floor to you guys.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for joining us. And first of all, I think it's important that we address the promotion of Ibrahim Sekagya, who has been exceptional for Red Bull as a head coach, as a former player. I mean, he breathes, bleeds Red Bull every day. I mean, this is a guy that I see 12 hours a day at times at the facility. So the commitment and the dedication he has shown during his time has been exceptional, and he certainly merit the promotion to become an assistant coach permanently for the first team. And obviously today we are here to welcome Michael Bradley. I think this is a huge a moment for New York Red Bulls. A player that I played against in the past, representing our national teams. But most importantly, this is a leader that we welcome to our Red Bull family. Somebody who will definitely bring lots of history based on his career and how it started. And this is where he started. So first, full circle and a great story to tell, but also the fact that, this is somebody who's super ambitious to take this next step in his career. And we are extremely proud to welcome Michael Bradley here. Michael.
Thanks, Julian.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you all for being here. Thanks everybody for joining us. As I've mentioned a few times in the last week or so, this is a dream opportunity for a young coach to be at this club, to be inside of the Red Bull family. I couldn't be more excited. So I want to thank Jochen, Julian, everybody at Red Bull Global, Jurgen, Mario, Joel, Pete, for the opportunity. And I will do everything I can to help the club and continue, make sure that everything continues in a really good way.
All right, guys, so we're going to open the floor to questions. When you guys ask your questions, just please state your name and the publication you work for. We're going to start in the room. First thing I saw was Mark.
Michael, welcome. Glad to have you, Joey. Good to see you. Can you talk about the process for how this appointment came about? Obviously, for those of us outside the club, a little bit of a surprise, a pleasant surprise for sure. But if you could just tell us the story of how the opportunity became available and how you made and why you made the decision to join. And it's Mark Fishkin from Steve Brett. Thank you.
I'll answer the last part first.
Okay.
It's a no-brainer. So that's how I made the decision. It's been in the works a little bit. I spoke to Mario Gomez for the first time going back to the end of last year. Obviously Mario and I played against each other. We have some mutual friends. Touched base with him and just this was in a period where I was still in Oslo and now trying to figure out the next steps for me and my career. We got back here around Christmas time. My wife is from New Providence. We have a house not far away that has been home base for this last period as I started in the coaching world. And then early in the year, I had a meeting with Jochen, had another meeting or two with Jochen, had some meetings with Julian, some phone calls, and just starting to get to know each other and kind of understand where they were going as a club, for both sides, trying to understand again what would be the possibilities moving forward. And then they gave me the opportunity to go to Europe for just about a month, from mid-April to mid-May. So I spent, it ended up being 2.5 weeks in Salzburg. I got to go to the Final Four of the UEFA Youth League with their under-19s in Lyon, Switzerland. So I was in Salzburg, then went to Nyon, then went back to Salzburg for another period. And then I finished that trip in Munich, spending some days at Red Bull Global. And so, you know, the opportunity to be in Europe for that period, you know, be around Salzburg. It's great to see so many of the same faces here in these days. Again, as a young coach, to be able to learn, to see how they do things, to understand all of everything that goes into Red Bull, you know, in terms of a club and organization. It was awesome, you know, trainings, games, football discussions, meetings, like in every way. And so that got us to about the middle of May. And then at some point in this last period, obviously, you know, and again, you can correct me if I'm wrong or touch on it different, but I think Vedad had expressed the desire to take his family back home, which meant that there was a little bit of an opportunity, an opening. And obviously, Julian mentioned it at the begining, and you know, I've seen it already in a few days. Ibra is incredible. He has done such an incredible job with the second team. Everybody around here loves him. And so, you know, I think the opportunity for him to now move full-time with the first team meant that there was an opening with the second team. So when I met with Ilkin and Julian and they mentioned that idea, I said, when do I start?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much covered everything there, I must say, but no,
That's
it's,
for the story, so
yeah,
thank you.
yeah, no, it's great. I mean, everything that Michael said is spot on. And, you know, as an organization, we had a feeling that there would be some movement coming up in the summer. Starting in January, also learning the fact that Vedad was ready to move on and created an opportunity for Ibra to jump in there. So yeah, we started that process, looking for possible coaches to come in at Rebel 2 very early in the year. And the moment you come across an individual like Michael, I mean, it's quite clear and easy to say, yeah, this is a top candidate to bring in, and it's a decision that makes complete sense.
Okay.
Mike, welcome back.
Thank you.
When I first saw you, you were drafted with the Metro Stars. You have a lot of wealth of experience as a player, both here and abroad. Of course, you've been able to use that experience, just like glean that experience from many of the kids you're going to be now being in charge. That said, did you pick up any points or any nuggets from your father, who was also the coach of this team back in the day? Now you're moving on to that, you know, to that field. Can you share that with us?
Absolutely. I think as a coach, what do you try to do? You try to take all of your experiences in the game. You try to take the teams that you played on, the coaches that you played for, the teammates that you had, the good experiences, the bad experiences, and you try to use that all in a way where now, when you get your chance as a coach.
We want to really be thankful for the Dutch Center hosting this event. Do a lot of great things, and
You want to create every day? What type of you know, what's the football going to look like? How are you going to engage the players? And so I have taken that from every part of my career. Certainly the part for me, I'm lucky. When you grow up in a house with a coach, you understand quickly what it means to work hard. You understand quickly what it means to commit yourself to your team and to your players, and to love that, to enjoy the part of now engaging them, challenging them to grow, to take the next steps. And so yeah, I've been lucky.
But once you
Wait, we're just gonna give everyone a shot to ask questions. Do you have one?
Hi, Michael. Congratulations. I just want to first ask you about, of course, you've been moving around the world since you were a kid, following your dad to Illinois. Now to be back in New Jersey with a full-time managerial role in your home state, what does that mean for you and your family?
Yeah, again, it's a dream. You know, I've been incredibly lucky in football. You know, I left here in January of 2006. You know, I had played obviously in 2004 and 2005, and in January of 2006, I had the opportunity to go to Europe. And I've been back many times. You know, I was back to visit my wife. I was back to visit my grandparents, my aunts, uncles, family, but I've not lived here. You know, it's New Jersey is still always for me home. You know, when you go around the world and people ask you where you're from, yeah, for me, I was born here, and it's still the area that I have such strong roots. And so the opportunity now to be back home, to have, again, not just back home, but the chance to coach and work at a club like this, inside an organization like this, all of the resources at our disposal, talented young players who are so hungry and motivated to take the next step. Yeah, you can't ask for anything more.
Next, we're gonna kick it to Zoom. First hand I saw was Eric Giacometti.
Hey, Michael, congratulations on the gig. Welcome back to New Jersey as well. I'm just curious in terms of obviously the coaching background and influence. Your father's the one that comes to mind right away, but I think other than him, probably Greg, you might have even more appearances under Greg than anyone else in your career. Wondering if he's someone you've spoken to in terms of influence, or what you've taken over the course of your time and tenure there, and what you want to bring to your teams going forward in terms of identity, tactics, all of that.
Yeah, Greg and I had a great relationship during our time in Toronto. You know, it's a relationship that still we maintain today. You know, we trade messages back and forth. Obviously, you know, when they had their success last year, I congratulated him, and yeah, we're checking in on each other always. And like I said, Eric, you know, you take all of the experiences that you have as a player, and now you try to bring them together in a way that now your ideas and your personality comes out. And so for me, the idea of football is so much in line with the starting points of what Red Bull football, I believe, wants to be going forward. You know, one of the things that I've been able to do in the last few months is spend some time on a few different occasions with Jurgen. Well, and when you get that opportunity and you hear him talk about the game, and you hear the way he speaks, and you see his passion and his energy, it's amazing, you know. And for anybody who watched his Liverpool teams play, his Dortmund teams play, like the idea that now you are going to try to take you know, the starting points and the ideas of some of those teams, and now how does that get combined with the Red Bull identity of intensity, of being dynamic, of stepping on the field no matter who you play against, to put the game on your terms, and to be aggressive and push the game. Yeah, that fits with who I am. That fits with what I want. And so I think, again, as a young coach, the opportunity to be here, it fits in every way.
Great. Next, we'll kick it to Tom Hindle on Zoom.
Hi, Michael. Congratulations on the job, mate. I wanted to ask, you spent a week or so, I believe, with Jesse Marsch in the Canadian national team a few weeks ago. What influence did that have on you, and you know, in the way that you maybe approach coaching or are going to approach this job?
Yeah, look, I've known Jesse for a really long time. He played for my dad at Princeton. You know, he was somebody growing up when I was a young kid, hanging around the locker rooms of those Chicago Fire teams. Guys like Jesse Marsch and Chris Armas and Ante Razov, they were role models for me. You know, they were the ones that I looked up to. They were the ones that I wanted to emulate. And so, you know, I've followed all of them closely, stayed in close contact with all of them. And certainly now following Jesse's coaching career and the way that he has been able to grow and develop and move his career along it's been amazing to see. And so, we spoke a little bit over this last period about if the opportunity came and the schedule worked out, going in with Canada and having the opportunity to see how he's working, how he and his staff are doing things. What does training look like? How are they preparing for matches? All of this kind of stuff. And again, as a young coach, the opportunity to, these different experiences and opportunities are so valuable, just in terms of seeing the way other, top coaches are doing things in the way that, and now using that to help your own ideas. And so, yeah, I really, really enjoyed those days with Jesse and with Canada. I think they have a really, really interesting group of players. I think Jesse and his staff have a fantastic way of engaging them every single day. And again, as a young coach, it was only a few days, but I learned an incredible amount and really appreciative of the opportunity to be there.
Next, we'll take it to Jonathan Mack.
Hi, Michael. Jonathan Mack in New York. When you look back on this experience in 10, 20 years, what is one thing you want to look back on about this role and say, I did this well and I'm proud of?
I think it's twofold. The first part is now, as a young coach, having the opportunity to be on the field every single day with a group of my own, and to take my ideas for the game, my ideas of culture and environment, and now bring them together in a way where like the football comes to life for the group, and that now we can continue. I don't want to say continue, because again, Ibra has done a fantastic job in terms of the starting points and the way that this group has developed. But we can continue to have a team that has mentality and spirit and plays football with real personality and ideas. And so, as I said, that's a big part of it. And the second part is the talented young players that you get to work with. There's no better age than the age of these players. They are so close to now taking the next step in their football career. Some of them have had the taste already of first team football, of now the next level, and they come in every day just so eager and so motivated to work, to train. And so it's how can I help them even more?
Next, we'll kick it to Neil Davidson.
Thank you, Neil Davidson from the Canadian Press in Toronto. Hello, Michael. Congratulations.
Thanks.
One of your first games in charge will be back in Toronto. It'll be a different stadium, but I wonder, have you thought what it'll be like being back here facing a team in a familiar jersey?
I have thought about it. I saw it when I looked on the schedule and saw that it was one of the first few games. I was excited for sure. I've not been back to Toronto since January of 2024. And so I'm really looking forward to going back. We have there's strong Toronto ties on this staff, Neil. Obviously, sitting next to a big Toronto figure right here, Tiger Fitzpatrick, obviously, as well. So I know it'll be a game that we're all excited for.
Thank you.
Next, we'll send it to Daniel Rebane.
How you doing, Mike? Daniel Rebane, Area Sports Network. You kind of touched on it a bit with coaching these young players, but what have you seen from the midfielders like Adri, Mehmeti, and Aiden, Jarvis in these early days of training and the game that you saw this past weekend?
Really, really interesting young players. Adri and Aiden are different profiles. They have different qualities, but in terms of now two really exciting young midfielders that have come through our academy, I think they have, I think the potential for them both is huge. And so I'm really excited to work with them. You know, I've seen now firsthand on the training field this week just how committed they are to improving and to getting better. But again, it's those two, but it's everybody. I think the mix of this squad is so interesting. You know, there are Julian and the staff here have done a really good job of now bringing in some talented young international players who are really close to taking their next step. And then you combine that with the core or the foundation of young academy players. And I think it's just a really interesting mix of talent, of profiles, of personalities, of backgrounds. And so yeah, it's really exciting.
Next, we'll go to Eric Freelander.
I'm Michael Eric Freelander, Metro Soccer Report. This is actually for Julian. With Michael being a first-time head coach, what like structures or processes are in place for the Red Bulls to help him develop as a coach? Obviously, we know how great you guys are at developing players, but what systems or any sort of like processes besides obviously the trips to Salzburg and things like that for him to develop?
Oh, thank you, Eric. Yeah, it's important to recognize there at Red Bull, like you said, we're not just developing players, we're developing coaches. And, you know, one of my tasks coming here 18 months ago was to really connect the groups between Academy, Red Bull 2 and the first team. So when you're able to build these strong connections, relationships, and have the entire organization under one strong culture, it allows the connection to be had amongst players and coaches as well. So I'll use Iber as an example. And he was an assistant coach for the first team in the mornings, but then also would move over to the second team as a head coach. And a lot of the stuff he learned from our staff in the first team with Sandro and the group, it allowed him to grow as a coach. It allowed him to create his ideas as well. And then he was able to implement those ways of coaching with the second team. And as you can see today, the results speak for itself, but also let's also recognize the fact that we're developing players in the midst of all that. You know, Omar Valencia, Mohamed Sofor, great examples of RB2 players who have made the jump to first team and currently seeing the success that they've shown in the short term. But again, in terms of developing coaches, and for Michael's sake, he'll get the chance to have conversations with the first team. He'll get a chance to even watch training sessions and allow him to continue his development as a young coach. The onboarding for me has been a huge bonus, and I think that's huge in terms of a multi-club organization that allows coaches from New York to go over to Salzburg, Leipzig, and Bragantino, and many more. So I think when you see these type of exchanges with groups under the Red Bull umbrella, I mean, it's easy to say that the resources that we have is next to nothing that you've seen in football today's day and age. So for Michael's sake, I mean, we've seen what he's done on the field as a player. He's going to bring a lot of wealth of knowledge, of history as a captain for his country as well. One of the greatest American players of all time is sitting here at Red Bull today. So for any young player that has come through the Red Bull Academy, that's coming in as an international to Red Bull 2, I mean, you're getting world-class knowledge on a day-to-day basis. But for Michael's sake, he continues to get that world-class development as well, working with top coaches in the organization.
Next, we'll go to James Burley.
Thank you, James Burley with The Shot Magazine. Michael, welcome back to New Jersey and welcome back to the club. Want to touch on what Julian just mentioned about, you know, the closeness between the first teams all the way down to the academies. It's long been prided by the club, those relationships from staff to players. So, Michael, in your short time since the appointment to this position, what impression have you gotten from the club to that end, and what culture are you looking to add and cultivate with the second team in conjunction with that Red Bull philosophy? Thank you.
Yeah, it's really easy to see that the environment and the culture that's been created here is a really, really good one. The night before my first day, I had a message from Sandro Schwartz, you know, wishing me the best of luck and letting me know that he was excited to touch base when the first team's back in for training. Obviously, you know, the relationship with Julian, with Jochen over the last months, it's clear to see that obviously the football part is hugely important for them, but there's also the part of what is the culture like inside the club, and now having the opportunity to be here for a few days, it's special for sure. And so you know, when you come in as a new coach, as a new player, it's your job first and foremost to find the right ways to now fit into that culture and to make sure that people know you are here for the right reasons, make sure that people know you are ready to work hard and commit yourself fully to everything that's going on. And so I'm excited to do that. Again, it's an incredible opportunity, and already now in the first few days, just the part of being out on the field every day, the cooperation and the discussion with the staff, you know, the staff in place at Red Bull 2 is second to none. It's easy to see. You know, the people that they have, their commitment to working really hard. You know, from the beginning, every single one of them was, you know, just committed to helping me transition in as quickly as possible. So yeah, I'm excited to be here, and we'll do everything to make sure that I can continue to help everything move forward in a good way.
Next, we'll go to George Martinez.
Mike, welcome back. Two brief questions. Is there any added pressure for you coming into a team that's at first place and making sure we stay at first place? And second is, you're coming back to New Jersey at a time where there's a lot of hype around New Jersey soccer-wise. We have Club World Cup final, World Cup final coming back, and you're a Jersey guy. Can you tell me how this all feels to you coming back?
Yeah, look, I mean, in terms of the pressure now of coming into a team that's doing so well, there's always pressure in football, you know. You realize that quickly. Obviously, again, and I said this to the players on the first day, the pressure or the expectations now, that's the players have earned that, you know, in terms of now their growth, their development, the way that they've worked with Ibra and the staff, the standards, the expectations, they've set those now. And so for me, it's coming in and trying to make sure that we can continue working in a really positive way. Obviously, I'd be absolutely crazy to come in here and think that, like, on day one, all of a sudden I was gonna start doing a million things different. Like, but with time, obviously now I'll, you know, I can only be myself, and I have my personality and my ways of trying to work with the players and challenge them and help them. And so, look, we've already found a really good way of working together. It's been a lot of fun. And look, at the end of the day, Red Bull 2 will always be about trying to find the absolute best balance of developing players and being competitive and winning. It's the luxury or the value of a second team, which is that, you know, we are still here to help every single one of those players improve and take the next step and try to develop as many players for the first team as possible. Part of developing is learning how to compete and learning how to win and learning how to compete by playing football in the right way, going for it and being aggressive and trying to put the game on your terms, playing with ideas, with personalities, trying to attack. So we'll do all that. We will compete in every game. We'll do our best always to make sure that we put ourselves in positions to be successful, and still try to help every single one of the players develop and improve so that they can take the next step.
We have time for 2 more questions. We'll first go to Daniel Fornstein and then finish with Gary Redmond in the room.
Daniel Feuerstein currently with Bad Dog Sports. Michael, first of all, congratulations. You were coached by your father when you started at the club here, and then part of the national team for the World Cup in 2010 in South Africa. I think you were still with, I think you were with Toronto when your dad took over for a time, and then you went to your dad at Stabæk in Norway after you retired. Is that an advantage for you to become a coach now for Red Bull 2? You feel you've learned from your father enough, both as a player and part of his staff?
For sure, the idea that as a coach, you learn from other good coaches, right? That it sounds so simple, but it's the truth, right? And I've been so lucky in that I grew up in a house with a really, really, really good coach, and so I've seen what it takes, what it means to work hard, what it means to throw yourself in fully to your team and to just be completely relentless in trying to make your players and your team better. And so when you see what goes into that, when you see how special that is, yeah, then there's a part to it where it's like, man, I want to do that too. And so for me, as I got to the end of my career, there's a part to when you get to the last few years where your experience as a player, your role in a team, captain, it means that you're taking on some of those responsibilities already. But certainly the part now of in the last, year and a half, being able to be on my dad's staff, the period in Salzburg, the week with Jesse, like when you see now firsthand everything that goes into to coaching, to organizing things, to making sure that no stone gets left unturned. That's valuable experience. There's no two ways about it.
We'll wrap up with Gary.
Of course, when it's all said and done, you're gonna have to take charge of the team. That said, you hinted on this in many occasions. There's a lot of development needs to happen with the Red Bull side, and of course, there's competing. That said, what is this team gonna look like under you rather than Ibrahim and Sekagya? What if folks are going to be expected to see? What type of football they're going to see?
Look, the starting points of Red Bull teams are always going to be intensity. They're always going to be thinking about playing forward, being vertical, trying to find ways to be aggressive with the ball and without the ball. And as I said earlier, that fits in every way with who I was as a player, and now what I want to be as a coach. And so I'm excited, the part now where I can be at a club inside an organization where the idea for football fits with how I see the game. That part is really exciting. So the qualities that we've seen in Red Bull 2 with Ibra in terms of being aggressive, in terms of pressing, counter pressing, trying to play forward quickly, trying to create chances. Yeah, those are we're gonna keep going with those. And then sure, with time, there'll be little things that I tweak a little bit, and ideas that I have in terms of how we can be more aggressive, how we can be in certain moments, you know, a little bit better with the ball. How can we create a few more chances? You know, like the team is doing all of those things already. It's just now, you know, in trying to take it all and help develop it even more.
Thank you, Michael and Julian. That's going to conclude the press conference for today. We'll send out quotes and audio shortly after this afternoon. Again, thank you everyone for joining and enjoy your weekend.
So much, guys.
Thank you.